I would call the year, if you put it into context, I would say it's a recovery year. Clearly, when we released our results last year, we were just coming through the first phase of the pandemic, and we did not expect what to happen. But I'm actually quite pleased to announce that we've actually increased the results to the headline earnings per share 66%. So it's a good recovery. Unfortunately, we're not back to pre-COVID levels, but hopefully we'll get there soon.
Right. When you look at the performance of your investee companies, how are you rating their ability to withstand the pressure that we're finding ourselves in?
I mentioned this morning, I think it actually shows you the quality of our portfolio of companies, the robustness. All our underlying companies, bar Mediclinic, has performed very well in these circumstances. RCL, Distell, Wispeco, Air Products have all done a remarkable job. CIVH as well, our fiber company, obviously the conditions favored working from home, etc., so it helped them. The only company that was still struggling is Mediclinic, and part of that reason is because we only counted for the results to March, so we've got a March to March in our results, and that has really been, so their results actually showed you the worst effect of the pandemic. Next year will be a lot better from Mediclinic coming through that, and so, but I think it shows you the robustness and the defensiveness of our portfolio, so I'm very proud of our underlying investee companies.
I'm curious to what extent your strategy has had to adapt to these uncertain environments. I mean, a year ago this time, most companies were not perhaps, deploying capital because we didn't quite know what is going to happen with the pandemic, how long we might be in, an uncertain environment globally as well. To what extent have you had to tweak your strategy to work with the current times?
Yes, I'm not sure we're over it yet, so we're still looking at that. One of the big things is what we call get powder dry and capital dry at the center. So if one of our companies run into trouble, that we can support them from a financial point of view. So we had all sorts of contingency plans in place. Luckily, it was not needed. As I said to you, it showed the quality and the resilience of our underlying companies. And I think the second aspect that we also focused a lot on was the safety of our employees, to make sure that they can travel to work safely, they can work at the factory safely. Because in the industries that we operate, it was quite crucial to the economy, keeping it going in the food space, in the telecommunications space, on the hospital side. So it was a critical part of the backbone of making sure the country is functioning. And our employees couldn't stay at home. They had to be at the front face. And I just applaud them of what they've achieved and that their willingness to actually show their commitment in the very difficult times.
You mentioned keeping the powder dry. Is that still the case right now? Or are there opportunities out there that you have spotted where you can at least deploy some capital?
Yes, we've spotted opportunities where you can deploy capital. I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully it's not an oncoming train. But I think if we can encourage the country to get vaccinated, that we can get this dry, there's enough vaccinations available, encouraging the people of our country. I mean, the economy will open up quicker, tourism can happen, and I think that will open a lot of opportunities, and we see some opportunities out there. But it's also dependent on the things like that we need to get vaccinated, then we can get off the red list of the UK and so forth. So I would encourage people just to get vaccinated out there, that we can open up the economy, and that will help, not just the economy, but help the people generally speaking, because the consumer is struggling. There are a lot of people who saw the unemployment numbers, etc., etc. So let's get it done, people.
And I'm sure people will definitely be doing that. However, Jannie, let us in here. When you're looking at these new opportunities, when you're sitting down with your team and you're having those discussions in your boardroom, what ticks the box for you to say, this is what we want to pursue and we be willing to put good money behind it?
One of the things that we want to pursue is growth opportunities, and we've identified certain areas that we think that's achievable. And the one that I can mention is in the fiber space and connectivity. We call it a democratization of the internet. The second aspect is, I've said that on the analyst call this morning as well, we want to drive our portfolio towards a more unlisted portfolio, have less listed assets and a more unlisted assets, so that the properties and the companies that we own become more scarce, and that they have to access it via Remgro. But yes, I see there are opportunities, and we're looking at deployment of some capital in a very responsible manner.
The one thing you do mention in your press release this morning, saying that Remgro aims to be an ESG leader and, of course, is in the process of implementing those measures. Perhaps you can tell us, what do you mean by being an ESG leader? What can we expect here?
Yes, we've got an initiative driving on the energy space, clean energy. We want to, unashamedly, we say from our own point of view, we want to become independent from a company like Eskom, that we supply our own clean energy. And we've got a wider group that we will utilizing in that we can buy and sell energy and electricity across the group. So that's one of the big focus points. Management is also very much incentivized that we actually become an ESG leader in the future. We've got various other initiatives, waste to energy in our underlying companies, using some of our mills in the Lowveld area to generate electricity, become power neutral, water neutral, all of those things. So it's not just a tick box exercise, it's something that we want to live it. We actually want to become part of our DNA. And then that's just something that we're going to just say it's a tick box exercise. We actually do believe in it sincerely.
In this environment, and picking up on your earlier answer where you mentioned that we're not quite over the pandemic as yet, what is the headspace currently for a typical South African CEO like yourself? What's concerning you, or at least in some cases, what putting a smile on your face and is encouraging for you?
I think the encouraging side is the resilience of the country. I mean, we've experienced some headwinds, not just on the pandemic side, which also what happened in KZN, Gauteng in July. And I think the country came through that stronger. So that definitely puts a smile on my face from the people of South Africa. I think it's the second thing that could be worrying is third wave. It struck us over December, January. It's a very productive month for certain companies during the holiday period. So if we have the third wave and when the people are not vaccinated and our hospitals are overflowing again, that actually puts me a little bit that we have to be cautious, and that's why actually the vaccination program is formed such an integral part of South Africa.